Dr. Bijoy Misra, and I'm very happy to see you here. Your part one of your paper was presented in Vancouver, and I think it was by a colleague of yours. I mean, you are working with a group, but of scholars on your topic for quite some time, and it's a very fascinating subject. So I'll try to find the. He's astrophysicist. Dr. Bijoy Misra is astrophysicist interested in human brain research and detection of information signature in the brain. And he's the president of India Discovery Center, an educational initiative in Lincoln, Massachusetts. And he edited the science segment of the proceedings for the World Sanskrit Conference 16. So very happy to welcome Dr. Misra. Please, the main stage is yours.
All right. Good afternoon here from Boston, Massachusetts. Snowing here.
Oh,
I'm kind of so glad that you have given me an opportunity to speak about what we are doing here lately. We're trying to develop a mathematical model of the way the speech will develop in the brain. It may sound a little complex, and we're using the Vedas as a as an example about how a stimulus is like I'm a stimulus to you now. So how do you perceive me? How do our senses take an unseen object? Unseen object means something to detect, something to understand, something to comprehend. So brain gets busy. So that busyness of the brain is lately neurologically has been discovered as the alert brain. Alert brain is active, and brain has many different segments of oscillations. Plus it has many neurocenters. What are neurocenters? Neurocenters appear to be cognitive tokens. Cognitive tokens in the sense like when you see me, it is not that you are trying to uh, understand a strange object, but you try to segment through in the brain that some such object might have existed. So you are trying to connecting how? Not as a whole object. So brain segments me in your brains, and then it tries to find the proper neural center that might represent me in your brain. So this is the modern thinking in neurology, how we perceive, how impressions come to us. Impressions come to us through lot of sensory stimulus. So optical, olfactory, auditory, touch. So they kind of join us, they come. After they come, then the brain takes over from there, and so they select a neuron in the brain that will collect this information and then pass it on through. So the complete information is loaded to the neuron, and what the neuron does, it tries to propagate, and as I said before, through segmentation process, tries to find its partners. So the entire brain gets engaged in trying to decipher. Now, this decipherment of information of stimulus in the brain is has the oscillations involved. As I said, every neural cluster, every subcluster, every cell they are showing this kind of frequencies. We try to also explore the frequencies, but lately I find in the Vedas the word called Shwara. Shwara. Shwara is your voice. Shwara is your own frequency. Your the way every person has his own swara. So if you take that particular thing in mind, that is, you have a shwara. That means you are mapping me in your brain through your swara, the way you would map. Now that mapping eventually gives you an image, some kind of a cognitive replica of the stimulus, which you may or may not express, but it is there. So this is the part of neurology that is an analog, frequency oriented, detailed image exists in the brain, and then that gets transferred into acoustic signal through some kind of a brain operation where the oral cavity, nasal or some, they kind of get, but that's crude. That is not as detailed as this inside cognitive replica that you would have. So what you are kind of trying to see is, or try to believe is, that each individual, a tree is a tree to all individuals. As you see, sense information comes in, an object is an object, vastutva. So that object brings you information. But that information, then what you do is, inside your cognitive grammar in the brain, these neural clusters that I talked about, they make a syntax of their own, and we are after to find what the syntax may be. That syntax is a function of their own energy. So each particular point I talked about has an energy level. So that energy creates a hierarchy about how they will be structured, which basically means that everything that we see in the linguistic world as vocal information somehow gets prepared in the brain as cognitive information. So, which basically then means that what Panini is trying to do is trying to explore that neural grammar. What I then I we did the Vedas, and I cannot do this screen share. But what happens is that the way the you can see the Vedic composition, see the varnas, the letters, they can go arbitrary. They can go mix and match as they like. They can be condensed. They can be expanded. New things can come in. What we think now is that is happening in the neurology level, because the possibilities of these neural centers to join each other, axons, is high. So when the Vedic things you see, there are 2 letters, 3 letters, words. When the Sha becomes independent, joins, it becomes something else. All that is happening, a replication of what's happening in the brain. And then also you can see that at a certain time, then process become unstable. So there is no word is more than 4 letters or something. What we did was, are trying to do actually, not we have not completed it. That is, how does a stimulus function? We don't have a direct example of it. We can't really make somebody to make meditate on a stimulus, because in order that the full language be developed in the brain, you must have a full understanding of the object in the brain. So that is where we're in the Vedas. We're assuming that the words did not exist, but the complete invocation of the object is there in the people's mind. because people have no other way to express. They can only collect information. Collecting information, then they muttered. They had some sound coming out. So those sound are, we believe, the translation of the neural sound which is there inside, and that's kind of being reproduced as acoustic sound. And then gradually, as the things are developed, so we can call them words. In the sense that the when the dhwani is coming out from the as a Vedic composer, as if person is speaking or something, he's not saying words. He's saying individual syllables. And so he's just muttering individual syllables, and then by virtue of proximity, as we hear, by the pause, by the intonation, by the chanda, by the local prosody, so we can say, we can think that this is what probably he's saying. So this is the
So
theory that we are
thank
trying to
you.
develop.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mishra.
And
And of
yeah,
course, we already we have seen your
10 minutes, 10
presentation,
minutes, very good. Thank you.
and this is a very good summary
I,
of your approach.
before I just finish, I should have to mention my friend Thomas Burke, who is
Okay.
in the hospital now, and
Oh,
he has
sorry.
been a big part of our work. And I
Okay.
wish people can pray for him. He's kind of, I mean, and then other people. I just want to mention that. Thank you.
I should say that among the presenters, they also have asked one question beforehand to me, means via me. That was still a question for Bijoy Mishra regarding the in the abstract and the meaning of a consonant, the meaning of a consonant. And the question is, so in your abstract, that is a question from Pascal Koenen to Bijoy Mishra. In your abstract, you speak of the meaning of a consonant.
Good.
Does
Yeah.
this mean that
Right. Right.
does,
Okay. Very good. Shall I answer?
does this mean that you, excuse me, I will just read the question. Does this mean that you reject Martinet's double articulation of language, according to which utterances are first segmented into several meaningful units, the morphemes, and these are in turn segmented into meaningless but significantly distinctive units, the phonemes, and this is also, it was already Trubetskoy who had a similar theory, and so this is the question. I added this latter part, but the question by Pascal Koenen is about this meaning of the phonemes of a consonant, rather than that the morphemes are the smallest meaningful units.
Good. Very good. Good question. Good question. The what we are seeing lately, giving the Paninian principle, the consonant before being uttered as a sound is a marker, stimulus, the information that comes to you. It becomes content and context. Content is a marker, the information content, and the context is rendering of it. So basically, this marker we call consonant. It may be neurological, you have a different word than we can use, but that marker eventually keeps its strength, becomes a memory marker neurologically, and also as it develops the system, the marker continues with it. The marker doesn't enter itself. Marker is a marker. Marker is inert. Marker doesn't have any, has only frequency, doesn't have any shwara. So that thing gets embellished through the shwara and gets into the acoustic channel. So the consonant when we use there is not the consonant that they're Paninian consonants, but not in that form, not in the
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answer. I think it's very clear.